The killer, Elliot Rodger's mass murder plot had come together over the course of the past year. All of it detailed in a chilling manifesto and disturbing video that he left behind. ABC's Clayton Sandell is at the apartment building where his deadly rampage began with the very latest. Good morning, Clayton.
Good morning, Lara. This morning, Elliot Rodger's parents, who are divorced, are not speaking publicly. But now we are learning that just moments before this all began, their son sent an ominous warning. Just minutes before Elliot Rodger began his sinister attack, his mother knew something was wrong.
You forced me to suffer all my life, and now I'll make you all suffer.
Family friend Simon Astaire tells ABC News that Chin Rodger had just taken a call from her son's therapist, telling her to check her email. Waiting in her inbox, that 137-page manifesto detailing Elliot's jealousy and hatred, especially for women, who he blamed for a life of loneliness, rejection, and misery. It was 9:17 p.m., only 13 minutes before the shooting started. Chin Rodger then checked her son's YouTube page. What she found, Astaire says, confirming her worst fear.
Well, this is my last video. It all has to come to this.
Astaire says Elliot's mother frantically called her ex-husband, Peter Rodger, and later police, the two racing from Los Angeles to Isla Vista. Along the way, radio reports brought news of a shooting. When they reached the police station, officers confirmed the shooter was their son.
He was really upset about why is the world so unfair to him.
Girls gave their affection and sex and love to other men, but never to me. I'm 22 years old, and I'm still a virgin.
We now know Rodger's family contacted police only weeks earlier, concerned about his increasingly disturbing online rants. Sheriff's deputies went to his apartment.
They determined that he did not meet the criteria for an involuntary mental health hold.
They found no reason to take action, but Rodger wrote that it would have been different if police had found his guns and his assault plan. If they had demanded to search my room, he wrote, that would have ended everything. Rodger's manifesto describes a life of deprivation and unfairness, but his Facebook page tells a story of privilege, expensive cars, designer sunglasses, and private concerts with Katy Perry. His dad, an assistant director on the Hunger Games. Elliot even posted this picture on the red carpet. Images of a glamorous life that apparently masked a dark reality. Now, because Elliot Rodger was never institutionalized for mental illness, it was perfectly legal for him to buy those 3 handguns along with hundreds of bullets. David.
All right, Clayton, our thanks to you this morning as well. I want to bring in our chief legal affairs anchor, Dan Abrams. And Dan, it's always easy looking back with hindsight on these things. But the call and the email from the therapist to the mom, this was just minutes before these shootings began. And a lot of people are going to wonder, had the therapist only called police, maybe something could have been done?
Yeah, this was a very long manifesto with very little time. And the laws do vary state to state. There's no question that this therapist would have been allowed to call the police without worrying about the privilege. The question is, was it mandatory? Did this therapist have to call the police? It does seem under California law that a therapist can be required to call the authorities, to warn, to protect, most importantly, if the victims are identifiable. And in this manifesto, it does seem that particular people were named, so an argument could be made that the psychologist was obligated to protect the victims in this case, but because it was such a long manifesto and so little time, it's going to be very fact-specific.
We also know police called authorities before the sheriff's deputies had gone to the home, and one thing written in the manifesto, Dan, I know you're aware of this, the police interrogated me outside for a few minutes. He goes on to write, if they had demanded to search my room, that would have ended everything. For a few horrible seconds, I thought it was all over. Then a biggest wave of relief. That's what he writes.
Yeah, but this wasn't a search warrant, right? I mean, they didn't have the right to just go in there. They were there for a welfare check to make sure that he was not a danger to himself or to others. The police made it pretty clear that in talking to him, there was no real risk, at least that they could tell. So very easy to second guess now. Tough to blame the police in retrospect.
Without a search warrant, you can't come in. All right, Dan, thanks very much.